Right, we've got a kitchen worktop somewhere in amongst all that. I'm liking the look of this middle one, waney edge. I reckon I could do something with that. It'd be quite nice to have a waney edge in the kitchen worktop. Anyway, solid birch, need to transform that with that and the table saw into something spectacular. Let's go. Right, well that looks good. Also I need a cut angle there. Trim it in there as well. I'm going right over to the window. And then the other two pieces will go here, which I think I'm going to do the waney edge for here. Well, that's coming along nicely. That's just a rough fit. Got to glue it all together now. My biscuits have arrived. I need to sand this waney edge down. All needs sanding up. Do a routing edge on here. Glue it all together. Wax it. Put the sink in properly. JP heater hob from China has arrived. So it's a diesel hob, 2 burners on it, and it's also a heater at the same time. And it goes in there. Hopefully I've got the holder right size. Downloaded the instructions online. Anyway, it's turned up from China. It's going in that hole. Let's see what it looks like when it's sat in there. I hummed and hawed for a long time about getting this, but I thought I'd give it a go. Don't know till you try, do you? So that's what that's going to look like. Well, it fits. Oh yeah, that looks pretty smart. That looks alright. So when it's in the down position and you're not cooking, you've got vents at the side and the front. So, and you basically got a fan's underneath there, and the it just turns into a heater, so hot air comes out that side, out the front, and out this side, and it just doubles up as a heater, which I think is pretty good. What it's going to be like, how noisy it's going to be, how smelly it's going to be, remains to be seen. Right, well that's been quite productive. Got that fixed in place. Just siliconed in basically. Sikaflex. I've done all the wiring underneath. I know that looks a bit messy at the moment, but there'll be a partition here and here, so that will be boxed in, and I'm going to do it so that I can take it out should I need to get to it to maintain it, so it won't be glued in. It'll just be screwed in with threaded bolts probably. So that's the intake, that's the exhaust, which got the heat shield round it, and then I've put a I've cut the wood out, and that's running inside a 50mm tube that I had, metal tube, old bit of scrap had lying around, never throw away scrap metal. And then I've got the plumber's silicone putty there as well, so this will all be hidden and boxed off, and we should be able to get 3 drawers in here. How far we can go back, that'll be tagged out the way. Sink's all glued in, and all we got to do now with the hob is the pump, and that is going to be going under the driver's seat in a box. So I've run the fuel line there and the wiring to it. I'll probably have to take that seat out to do it, but that's no big deal. Then we'll box it in a box so we can't hear it. And I'm going to run the fuel pipe, so basically underneath here, you take this off and it's the fuel tanks underneath. I've seen a video on YouTube where you can drill through a pipe. I've ordered another one of these, straight thinner one, and there's a brilliant video on YouTube that tells you exactly how to do it. I'm just waiting for that part to come, and then we can connect up the diesel to it, and then give it a test hopefully. Blimey, that was fiddly. One of the fiddliest jobs I've done so far. Anyway, that's the fuel pump boxed in. It's all connected up, electrics and fuel pipe to the hob stroke heater. And then I've had to get this at a certain angle, so it's got to be between 15 and 35 degrees. I reckon that's 20 degrees, and it's got to steadily rise all the way to the hob. I think I've only just about achieved that. It's very difficult here, but we shall see. There's fuel filters in there, and I've ordered a bit from eBay. So basically we're going to drill through that hole there, put a pipe down which is going to suck up the diesel from the tank. So that'll be a job for later on in the week. But in the meantime, oh, and I'll put a couple of spirit levels on there, so when you park up you can see if you're level when you're putting your levels on at a campsite, without, so the driver can see that without having to keep on move and check the spirit level. Anyway, I'm going to get that, cover that up now. It's all soundproofed. I don't want it making any noise, but we'll cover the top up. Crack on. Bit of an edit to do. After a bit of research and perhaps reading the instructions after I'd fitted it, I discovered that this needs to be vertical, and of course I had it a little bit at a slant, and I don't want to muck about and take any chances, so I need to try and mount that like that in there, which is difficult. So I've ordered some elbows which I'm going to fit, which should help, should be able to get it pretty much vertical. And another top tip that I read in the instructions, which I didn't really understand the first time what the diagram was going on about, but there's not to be any gaps between the pipe and where you're pushing it up in, so you need to, so I'm measuring it with a biro, masking it off with masking tape, how deep that is, and then masking it on the blue tape so it goes right up in, because if there's a gap you get an air bubble which will cause a problem. And that was covered in the instructions, that bit there, which I think I was reading it late at night and I didn't really get. Anyway, it's my excuse. Anyway, hopefully should get this up and running in a minute. Right, that's better. It's almost vertical. Alright, I'm going to shove a rag down there which I'll leave permanently, and then every now and then I'll be able to take this off to inspect it and see whether or not the rag is damp, whether or not it's leaking. That's one thing it would be doing, and the other thing it would be doing would be wedging it in place, and I'll also try and protect the fuel lines from rubbing on these clips. But basically, Agora van life was the video that I copied. Just drilled a hole, put the feed pipe down in, and glued it up with epoxy, and yeah, leave that to set, and then we'll see if we can get the thing running. Right, success, got it running. She's boiling a kettle, and I haven't boxed it all in yet because I wanted to make sure it didn't have any leaks, but that's the noise that it makes. So that's the fan, and that's on full blast at the moment. And you might be able to hear some ticking noise from the pump. I don't know if you can hear it. It's not too bad. It's settled down a bit. I was a little bit annoyed with it to begin with, but that's down there. You might hear it now. But anyway, what I will say about it's a JP hob. I've been very pleased with the customer service. Been communicating quite freely. But what I will say is that I was sent these instructions with it, and I was also sent some installation tips online. I followed the paper instructions. The installation tips were conflicting, so these are old apparently. Why they were sent with the heater I don't really know, because it just confused matters. So in here it talks about having the pump at optimal angle between 15 and 35 degrees, so I was conscious of that and spent a lot of time trying to achieve that. But then the other instructions that says that it can be horizontal, which is quite annoying because of I had to cut a hole in the floor there to achieve that angle, but now I can actually have it flat. But having said that, that should be a good thing, because then I can get some more sound deadening underneath it. I can raise it off the floor. I've seen people on YouTube suspending them as well, so I'll be able to suspend it in there rather than have the bracket attached, because that's what that clunking noise is, the sound resonating off the box. So I'll have it suspended with cable ties. But I'm quite pleased with that. That's working quite well. Yeah, I know it takes a long time to boil a kettle, and I knew that from my research. But when you're on holiday, you shouldn't be bothered about that. And you can always have a little gas hob, portable gas hob, one of those little blue ones. We've got them. They're absolutely excellent if you just want a very quick cup of tea. But for cooking purposes, I'm sure it'll be fine. Not too noisy. The exhaust, I'm absolutely gobsmacked with the exhaust. Bearing in mind I've got a Everspasher diesel heater in that thing. That sounds like a jumbo jet taking off. But there's the exhaust there, and it's practically silent. So all in all, I'm quite pleased. So I just need to crack on and get a few more cupboard doors done. I've been slowly chipping away at them, but fridge has arrived there. Got foam inside. My dining room looks, well, it looks like a warehouse for camping parts. I'll need to start cracking on building the sofa. So much to do, but we're slowly getting there. Anyway, to be continued.